record on this recording in progress. I mean, that voice really. But all right, let's settle in. We're going to do a little opening meditation. So just prepare yourself for that. If you're not feeling well, it's okay if you lie down or relax. You don't have to sit, all stiff and rigid. So let's enjoy 3 beautiful deep breaths, breathing in through the nose, slowly exhaling out the nostrils. Once again, breathing in through the nose, feeling the presence of this very moment, breathing out the nostrils. And last big breath in, breathing in through the nose. Fill your lungs, hold for a moment, open your mouth, gently sigh the breath out. We're going to use our imagination. We're going to invite the presence of enlightened consciousness, whatever that may be for you. It could be the Buddha, it could be the Christ, it could be Mother Mary, it could be Tara, it could be Lakshmi, Muhammad, Krishna, Shiva, whoever you resonate with, whoever's your higher mind. It might even be your own higher self, if you're more atheistic. Presence of God, whoever you connect with. Bring that presence into your space right now, into your mind, and personify them. Give them a face, give them a body, and imagine what they would be wearing, and their face and their eyes. And they would be smiling and saying, "Thank you for welcoming me into this space." So in the beginning, we make a prostration, which is we honor their great qualities. We feel a sense of perhaps adoration and respect. And we think, I would like to be like this. I would like to remove all my negative defilements and step into a complete realm of spiritual life. And maybe they will take you by the hand. Maybe they put one hand on your heart, and there's a sort of feeling of closeness and love. And then we make them an offering. It can be a physical offering, something that we love very much. It can be a mental offering of your favorite place. Samantabhadra is a famous yogi that used to imagine offering a sky full of flowers. Imagine these floating flowers in the sky, to the Buddhas. Maybe it's a beautiful sunset over the beach, or in the forest, or your favorite place, something you're quite attached to, perhaps. And this offering, it can be as simple as a cup of tea, but our offering connects us more to the divine. We honor and respect and give back, and it strengthens our karmic bonds with the enlightened mind. So it's quite a psychological and spiritual tool, and it can bring joy. If you invite a special guest, you always make them an offer of a drink or something to eat. So we do the same with the enlightened awareness. And as your holy being sits with you and holds your hand, we reflect on the week that's been, and a couple of things didn't go so well. Perhaps we lost our cool. Perhaps we felt a bit shameful or disappointed or irritated. And in this way, we've accumulated some negative energy or negative karma, which we don't want for it to come back and hurt us at a later stage. So we tell our holy being, listen, these are the things that I'm not so proud of this week. And maybe just reflect on them without guilt or remorse, but with intelligent regret. We regret what we've done. We decide we will try not to do it again, although this might not be possible, so we set a timeline. I will not do this again for another day, at least. And then we take refuge in the process of karma and how karma works and the understanding of the ability to purify our negative energy. And finally, we think of a remedy. How can I fix this? How can I make it right? How can I improve? What is the remedy? Regret, refuse, refuge, and remedy, the 4 R's. And then the 4th step is rejoicing. Our holy being holds us by the hand or touches our heart, and we smile and think, what have we done recently that has just brought joy and well-being to others, including ourselves? And you tell your holy being, wow, I'm so happy. There's such good things going on. I'm so grateful for my life, for my friends, for my family, for my health, for the things I've done for others that made them smile and made me smile. And I see other people doing good things too, and I'm happy for that as well. So we rejoice in goodness, and this builds an energy, for us to move forward and be even more resilient. The power of gratitude literally rewires our brain to see a better world. So think of all the beautiful things that are going on in your life and all the beautiful things that you are. And we look at our holy being's face, and we imagine what they look like, and we imagine they smile, and we ask them with all sincerity, point number 5, which is, please stay in my life. Please don't stop teaching. Please don't leave. I need to feel, I need to experience, I need to learn in order for me to reach my realization for the benefit of others as well. So please stay. Don't go. I need more of this. And this creates a good karma for this to stay in your life, right? To keep perpetuating the karma of finding teachers and of being taught in whatever shape or form that is, not necessarily a human being as such. The Buddhas can teach us in many ways. And then we ask formally, please teach me, please teach me, please teach me 3 times. Please teach me. Please continue to turn the wheel of the Dharma for me so that I may be of benefit to all. And then we imagine slowly our holy being or our deity getting smaller and smaller until they are the size of your thumb, and they fly to the top of your crown, and they face the same way as you, and then they gently dissolve into your skull, into your central channel. Their brightness and their enlightenment loosens the tight constraints and knots of the Ida and the Pingala, opening the chakras as they move down your crown, through the central channel, into your throat, down into your heart center. And there you have created a beautiful place for them to be, a sanctuary. And they sit there and radiate out of your heart. You are now imbued with enlightened energy, wisdom, and compassion. So I'm going to sing the Tibetan prayers. First is the mandala offering, and then refuge. If you know the mudra, you can do the mudra with me. Saji Bogi Junshin Meto Jam Vira Blinji Ninde Gembari Sangye Shindu Meite Oagi Roku Namda Shinla Joba Sho Iram Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. And then the refuge prayer. Sangye Chodang Soki Chognamla Sanju Badu Dagni Kyapsuchi Dagi Jensor Gipe Sonam Ki Chola Penche Sangye Drupa Sho Sangye Chodang Soki Chognamla Sanju Badu Dagni Kyapsuchi Dagi Jensor Gipe Sonam Ki Chola Penche Sangye Drupa Sho Sangye Chodan Zogi Chognamla Sanju Badu Dani Kyapsuchi Dage Jenzo Gibe Zonamki Chola Penche Sangye Drupara Sho. And we can gently open our eyes. Welcome, Carrie. Good to see you. Thanks for joining, everyone. It's so nice to see everyone. Andrea, welcome. Lovely that you're here. Antoinette, nice to see you. Pam, welcome. Super. All right. Sorry for the break last week, but it sort of clashed with the lecture that I had to give. And this one also clashes somewhat, so I might have to log off 5 minutes earlier. So I hope everyone is well. I thought we could just do a little recap. We looked at the 4 parts to karmic weight, which is your intention, the object, the action, and the rejoicing. Do you remember the example that I used for that? It was a little story. Who was the object in that story? Do you remember? The intention, the object, the action, and the rejoicing.
The car guard.
That's right. Yes, it was the car guard. The car guard, okay? It can either go one of 2 ways. You don't want to be generous. You ride away very fast, and then you think, yes, he didn't catch me. Or you could think of, oh, wow, here comes the car guard. I'm opening my heart. I want to give them some money. And then you give it to them. That's the action. And you drive away and you feel, oh, that was so nice. And that's the rejoicing. There was another example where karma is mixed. Okay. And there was another example of driving, and there was an object. Does anyone remember that object?
The hardy-dar.
Yeah, the hardy-dar. Okay. So you smack a hardy-dar, right? And you kill it, and you get out your car, and you look at this bird lying there. So you may feel your intention was never to kill a hardy-dar, right? It was an accident. But there are no accidents according to karma. So the hardy-dar had the karma to fly into the car. You had the karma to kill it. And you will accumulate some sort of karma for the killing, right? But it's not your fault. So your intention, no, this is not right. The object is the hardy-dar. The action is the killing. But the feeling after that happened is one of remorse, one of sadness. Oh my God, this is terrible. Okay? And that then purifies the karma of the killing. So feeling those things, having good intention and feeling remorse is virtue, okay, is goodness. So, why do things happen? Well, everything happens because of some karmic ripening. Does anyone have any comments or questions around this? Antoinette?
Just wanted to bounce it off you. Sometimes I don't feel great giving money to the car gods. And then I go inside and I question myself around this. And often it's about, you can give them the money, but if you don't have the goodness in your heart and you give them the money, then it's also not okay. And then often I'll actually keep the money and I'll actually speak to them and give them a blessing and feel into the self whether the money still needs to go or not. But I think often people don't get regarded for who they are. and acknowledged for their spirit of being there. And of course, their first goal probably is the money, to get the money. But and I often wonder about this thing, because it feels sometimes better to give them the blessing than the money. I think money is a teacher in many ways. But I just wanted to bounce that off you, actually. Sure.
Absolutely. Welcome, Prashima. Nice to see you. So I completely I agree with you. If you feel that money is not something that you want to give or enjoy giving, and something else would be better. And you know what? To be honest, I think when they are seen and when they are blessed, they feel just as wonderful and just as happy to be recognized as a human being. You know, in the Zulu culture, the word sawubona means I see you. You know, and it's a very respectful word. And people love to be seen in the Zulu culture. So if you don't greet someone, it's an insult. You know, people greet each other regularly as I see you, I see you, I acknowledge you, I acknowledge your presence. You're not a ghost. You're not this worthless thing to me. You mean something, and I see you. You know, so it's actually a wonderful, beautiful greeting. So I think what you're doing is perfect. It's always about the intention, right? If your intention is kindness, it doesn't have to be money. So there's different ways we can be kind. You know, we can give generously. We can protect others from fear. We can give them joy. We can teach them the Dharma. You know, and I mean, I'm not charging you for this, and no one's giving me any, and I don't expect money. I'm just giving the Dharma, right? So there's many ways to share our spirits and our generosity. So I think that's really beautiful. And you've brought up a really interesting point, because if you give and you regret, then there's no karma accumulated in that action, okay? And actually it's a non-virtue. So my teacher's teacher, Ken Rinpoche, a lady gave him her house. She said, I love you so much, I love these teachings, and you're an enlightened being, and here's the keys for my house. And then a week later, she was sleeping in her car and thinking, why did I do that? You know, it wasn't clever, it wasn't smart. So Rinpoche went to her and he said, listen, you can take your keys back. I can see this is not going to work out for you. And that wasn't a good thing. You know, she hurt herself in the process. So let's not hurt ourselves in the process. You know, let's try and look after our own self without being a doormat. I often talk about the wings of the bird. You know, we need self-compassion and we need compassion for others. But those wings have to be balanced, right? You've got to be happy, they've got to be happy. It's a win-win situation. If you're not happy, then small little wing, big wing for other. Not good, not going to fly, you know? Or the other way around, too much self-love, it can actually be toxic, where you think you're building boundaries, but you're just being an asshole, you know? So this could be too much, and then not much love for others, you know? So to balance the wings of the bird. Sarita, did you have a question or a comment?
Yes, Mark. So a few years ago, I was hijacked, and I did a lot of seva along the way. But after that incident, I was quite angry and would ignore the car guards, and just really felt angry towards a lot of people, specifically, the car guards and beggars on the street, etc. Would that be me accumulating negative karma? But I've shifted from being angry to a place of almost fear. So now if I don't roll down my window and hand out anything, it's from a place of fear. And I suppose they will, it's not that I don't donate or assist in any other way. I do in many other means, but that's more a safer option for me. So that's just been my experience. I just wanted your views on that.
Yes, absolutely. So myself, I was a victim of a house invasion a couple of years ago. Woke up at 4 a.m, 2 guys at the foot of our bed, one with a big knife, one with a gun. My wife, very vulnerable, screaming. They threatened to kill us. No, it was very hard, and I understand the trauma. So at this particular point, I do not judge, and I do not think, well, look, it's a karmic ripening to live in a country where there's violence, right? So obviously we have done something to create this in our reality, okay? So there's other societies where life is free and easy and there's no crime, but why do we have crime? We have to take some personal responsibility for what happens to us. So it's an interesting, I'll get to a story. So what you experienced is what Elizabeth Kubler-Ross talks about, the 5 stages of coping with grief or trauma. And the first one is like a denial, the second anger, bargaining, depression, and then acceptance. And that was something that played itself out for me. And I just gently showed myself kindness as I had these emotions and feelings, not to judge, yes, I'm feeling angry, this is wrong. Your anger could be a part of the healing process. So I can't say that to act negatively towards people because of a traumatic event is negative karma. I think really, yes, it is if you're harboring that anger, but then to use that anger and work with it and say, you know what, it's okay to not be okay, right? But it's not okay to not be okay going forward all the time. So when we were invaded, we didn't get hurt, thank goodness, and afterwards we had severe trauma. I couldn't sleep for a year and a half. I'd wake up in terror. But through my meditation practice, I began to feel the love once again for such people, because I'd be like, I understand why, I started to reframe the event, and in that way my healing and my joy came back. So yeah, it's a tough one. It's all a karmic ripening, right? This terrible incident, but it could also be something really positive, that you can grow and open your heart more under really, really tough circumstances. Does it make any sense?
No, it absolutely does, because that event has transformed me and helped shape the way I look at life now compared to post that event. So it definitely there has been positives out of that experience.
Sure.
For sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
The image.
Thanks, Mark.
No, it's a pleasure, Sarita. The image of the beautiful lotus flower growing out of the dark mud and the pain and the cuck of life and blossoming and blooming, and that's our responsibility. And if we don't grow, then we just stay in samsara, So there's a story of King. I'm just trying to think. King Kalinka. So there was a yogi meditating in the woods. It was actually a story of a past life of the Buddha, and he was meditating in the woods, and the beautiful queen was on a walk, and she saw this yogi, and she stopped and she said, "Teach me, O holy one." So this yogi started to talk to her and teach her. But as that happened, the king came past with his hunting party and saw his wife with this other man, and he got really upset, and he was a very violent man. So what he did is he tortured this poor yogi. He thought that his wife was having an affair, right? So he cut one by one this yogi's fingers off, and toes and limbs and arms until he died, right? But the yogi, which was the Buddha in the previous life, was thinking, this is my karma ripening right now. This is just my karma ripening. And as he thinks that, even in excruciating pain, there's no anger. Because if you get into the habit of thinking whatever's happening is a karmic ripening, then there's no one to blame, okay? That's their stuff that they will have to deal with. And it's a hard one, when people hurt us, because then you say, okay, well, and you can even tell them, I must have hurt somebody else in a similar way to see me being hurt in this way. And I acknowledge that, you know. Can you imagine saying that to someone who is hurting you? I mean, that could be an incredibly non-violent way to communicate, right? I take responsibility for what she's saying because I must have done this before. I must, you know, it's obviously I've played a part. But
yes, I agree. Somewhere along in your life, you would have had some sort of experience where you were probably a part of that.
yeah,
And I think, you know, that wisdom has actually helped me cope better and move on.
sure. Thank you. But there's something I do have to say, that if you are in a situation of abuse that is dangerous for you, then you must move away from that, okay? You mustn't just sit and say, oh, it's my karma for people to be nasty and horrible to me, you know? Yes, it is, but it's also your karma to leave. You make your decision. It's very practical, and then you leave and you move away from it. And then purify that karma, because you know what's going to happen? You'll meet another person that will abuse you. I mean, look at the cycle and the pattern of abusive relationships. You get abused, people leave, they find another partner, same shit. You know? It's true, right? You can see it. And then we think, what's wrong with me? Why do I keep attracting the same type of thing into my life? Well, it's karma. And until we actually purify and work on creating new karma, that pattern is going to, you know, your boss might be a complete asshole. And then you look for another job. And then bang, same problem, different person. It's not the person, right? It's your stuff that keeps on coming up, creating these scenarios. Yeah. Any other comments or questions? Andrea?
Thanks, Mark. I actually just wanted to comment on what you've just said, just because it's been my own personal experience over the last year especially. So I've always struggled in my professional life in the sense that my manager and I are very different individuals, and the harder I try to work in terms of mitigating, you know, whatever kind of negative energies there were between us, the more difficult the relationship between us became, to the point where I've now spent the last year doing a lot of internal work, and it's been amazing to see how it's been really hard, but it's amazing to become more aware in terms of what you're responsible for versus what somebody else is responsible for. Because I agree, like at one point, you know, I guess the easier option seemed to be to just find another job, but I guess I was at some point worried that I would possibly go through a similar kind of situation, because obviously there was a learning in that, and I needed to go through that specific learning. So yeah, it's interesting that you just mentioned that now. And as I say, it's a long road, but it's been a very interesting road, you know, to try and obviously learn kind of what's my stuff and what's her stuff.
And she might just disappear, you know. You might have the karma for her to get a promotion or move somewhere else, and that will be part of the karmic process as well. So I had a business partner. I was running an advertising agency about 6 years ago, and this guy was stealing from me, stealing. But I would make him cups of coffee because he was an old man. I made sure he had lunch, and I served him like my holy guru, you know. What happened? I left. I resigned as the managing director because I had a better work opportunity that I'm doing now. And I mean, I think that was all karma, right? Just serving him, purifying my karma for being dishonest and stealing from previous lives, and then saying, bye, I never want to see you again. I never want to see anybody else like you again. And it's not like you have to keep in touch with them. It's like, piss off, you know. My karma's changed, right? It's gone. It's done. I finished. And I've seen it in my life, time and time and time again. The workings of karma is real because I have put it into test. The Buddha said, don't believe anything I say. You try it and see if it works for you. You know? So absolutely. Absolutely. And well done for doing the work on you. Yeah. So we're very lively today. I love it. Antoinette.
Sorry, I am wanting to ask the Queen who then spoke to the yogi.
Yeah.
She was coming from a good place, right? She
It
wanted
was.
to learn. She wanted to. And then what the cause of her, I mean, it was really beautiful. And then unless there were ulterior motives, which I don't think there were, but the cause then was for her husband to, and then she sits then with
trauma.
And she becomes a witness, right? Yeah. And then also other people who had nothing to do with it, who also become witnesses.
Yeah.
And the trauma that gets left upon them, what is that?
It's all their karma.
Okay, so it's all karma.
So it's all related. So they all did something previously that almost aligned with what happened, and it was a ripening of a negative seed that they were all part of. So I'd like to think that all of us here on this call, we're planting goodness, we're coming together, and then we'll keep on having recurring moments, maybe in this life or next life, where we come together again. And it might look something a bit different, you know. You might be teaching me next life or this life, you know, and you are teaching me. So through your questions, through your comments, etc. But we are creating enormous amounts of goodness just through this process and understanding what reality is, because that's enlightenment. Is really, that's Buddhism. It's understanding what is real. How does this happen? How does this all happen? Is it God? You know, because a lot of people think that, oh, okay, I'm being tested, you know, I had this break-in, but I'm being tested. You know, it's all a big test and I've got to like jump over the hurdles. Like, what kind of creator is that? You know, like, why would the loving God do that to you? Makes no sense, right? Why should everything be a test? Why? You know, can we not just chill? Can we not just have a break, for goodness sake? You know, we have to make the break. We have to plant the seeds for it to happen. As Jesus said, the seeds you sow, you reap. And it's all connected. Everything is connected, right? There's nothing isolated. Whatever I do is going to affect you. Ubuntu, that's kind of the essence of the African wisdom, which relates to karma, because I am because you are, right? And as Andrea was saying, you know, and it's profound, change yourself and the world changes. That people say that often, you know, how do you change the world? You change yourself. And they don't actually understand what that means, because if you change yourself, the outside world actually changes. You might see more flowers, you might see more of the things you like, the music that you love sounds better, you look better, you feel better, you know, you meet the right people in your life, everything around you starts to change because you change yourself. Yeah, that's the promise of Buddhism, because you can't change the external world. You know, we've tried.
Absolutely.
We've tried that, you know. Doesn't work.
I think, Mark, what was always so difficult is that I don't know if it's my upbringing or if it was my generation, but that wasn't necessarily the worldview that was around at that time. So you know what I mean? So for me, what was a really big realization was that I need to take responsibility for the things that I've done, you know, whether to a particular person or whether in a situation. And I try really hard, it doesn't always work, but I try really hard to understand what the learning is in a particular situation, you know. And I've been really blessed in the sense that sometimes I'll have like a dream about something that I'm obviously struggling with regards to my relationship with my boss, and then like something will be revealed around, you know, like it was very much about a mirror, in the sense that she was mirroring stuff in me and I was mirroring stuff in her, you know what I mean? And through that, as I say, just taking responsibility for my own actions has been a really big thing, because that I don't ever remember somebody teaching me that, and kind of saying that is how you should act.
Yeah.
So for me, that's been a really big learning.
Yeah, I was told to just pray it away. I mean, I had friends who were gay. Like, just pray to God. Pray the gay away. Like, what? So absolutely. I mean, we weren't taught this. And when we were kids, we went to school. Mrs. Melvin said, God made everything. And then you go home and said, is Mrs. Melvin right? And your parents said, yes, she's right. And then you didn't question it. And nobody questions it until the day they die. And unless you're lucky enough to travel and go to places that you experience firsthand a different idea. And I understood Christianity better through my Buddhist path. I came back from the temple and I thought, my goodness, now I really understand what Jesus was talking about. But I don't think a lot of people that went to church actually do. It's just very surface. Yeah. So there was something else. Yeah. I mean, even like the war in Ukraine, it's our karma to see it. Okay. Think about someone living in a shack in Alex. They don't have a TV, they don't have a radio, they don't read the newspaper. Imagine that, okay? They don't even know where Ukraine is. They've never heard of Ukraine. To them, Ukraine doesn't even exist. The war doesn't even exist. Okay, to them. But to you it does. Right? Think of it that way. Then for them there is no war. But there's a war for you, and how you feel about that war. So if say you're a Russian and you think this war is fantastic, we must go in there and kick their ass, then you are going to accumulate the karma of those soldiers of Putin's story. You are going to join Putin in collecting that karma. But if you say, I don't agree with this, I don't agree with violence, and you're a Russian, you will not collect that karma. And that's a heavy karma. That's a very bad karma. So be careful of what you spend your money on. Where's my money going? Is it going to fuel misery and pain, or is my money going to fuel goodness and prolonged life and longevity and goodness for others? Because what we invest in is what we're going to get back. And it's not just money, it's your energy. Antoinette's looking into space. There's lots going on in her head. What's going on, Antoinette? You're right.
There we go. Sorry. Yeah, I'm fine. I think since I've been able to think with my own brain, I've always questioned life.
Yeah.
I was always kind of the kid that was asked to keep quiet in Sunday school and not ask questions in the class. I could ask afterwards.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm always kind of
processing.
And you caught me out.
It was that 1,000-yard stare,
That's it,
good,
yeah.
Good. And if anything's on your mind, everyone, just talk about it. I don't want you to be left confused and in doubts. And I don't want to chuck this down your throat, like a evangelistic characteristic. I don't want that either. It's got to be a process that lands well with you. And if it doesn't, it's fine. So if it doesn't, we just put it on the back burner and let it simmer, But don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, Just let it cook. Just cook it slowly, all right? It's hard because it goes against everything that we have been conditioned to believe in. When I was in the military, I was in the army in 1991, and the Dominee said to us that we must respect our corporal and lieutenant, and we must do whatever they tell us to do because they were appointed by the commandant, and the commandant answers to the president, and the president answers to God. How's that for a worldview? An indoctrination to make young men feel that to carry a rifle and to shoot it at other people is the work of God, right? We know that that's an abomination, but this is how people use religion. But in Buddhism, there's no God, In Buddhism, there's no creator. there is what we call Dharmakaya, which is the enlightened mind, okay? The realm of absolute Satchitanand, bliss consciousness. And it's not like there's nothing. There is such a wealth, and that it's like the ocean, right? Kerry loves this example. The ocean, and we are the wave that comes out of that ocean. And the problem with us is we think that we are a separate wave from the ocean, okay? But then our life comes to an end and we dissolve back into that ocean, and then another wave pops up. And the shape of that wave is the shape of your karma. What does that wave look like? Is it beautiful? Is it not beautiful? Is it, tall, short, fat, thin? That's the shape of the wave. That's the shape of you. And then you go back into that big ocean of source. But it's a very profound place, nirvana, enlightenment. Yeah. But the suffering we experience is the suffering of separation from that feeling of being interconnected, of being part of all life, of true Ubuntu, as the African wisdom aligns beautifully with Buddhism in that way. Donna.
Hi. So I've got basically my question's like twofold. So you know that I lost Tristan, right?
Yes.
So would that be shared karma? But I mean, his karma would have been bigger than mine because he's gone, and I'm still here. I mean, is that what it is? Is it shared karma?
Yeah, so it is shared karma. There's only the only other ways that God wanted it to happen, which for me is just horrific, or it was good luck, bad luck story, which I don't believe in either. Now, Tristan's leaving doesn't necessarily mean that he had the negative karma to leave in that way. Okay. It just meant that Tristan's karma for this life ran out, and his karma for the next life started. And it might not be a negative thing. It's just that his karma for living in this life with you ran out, and but your pain is when you feel pain. Of course, that's a ripening.
Okay, but I mean, what would I have done wrong to have that happen to me?
Well,
like the way you're saying it is karma is very much, if I do this, it's going to come back to me in the same form.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think, well, what would I have done to have that happen? Well, does it make sense?
We've all had it happen to us in many lives, okay? We've all lost children, each one of us, and we don't remember it. But we've all lost children in previous lives. We've all died in accidents in previous lives. We all have, and it feels incredibly painful, but it does come, the seed for not looking after life from other lives ripens, and that creates that incredibly painful experience. But are you still in pain, or are you growing out of that experience?
No, very much growing. I mean, I do volunteer counseling and all sorts of things that I would never have done if that hadn't happened to me.
Absolutely.
I counsel suicidal people because I know how that feels.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have done that. Well, I mean, I still do it. I wouldn't do that if I hadn't had that experience, I suppose.
So then, is it bad karma? It sounds to me like it's good karma, Donna. It sounds like Tristan's legacy was to leave you searching for a path, like my father's legacy of his suicide created this wonderful understanding and knowledge and learning. Otherwise, I would have been a spoiled little Bedford View brat, living a stupid life.
Yeah.
Is it really negative karma? Or this is my question I've been asking lately. How do you define what's good or bad?
Just hard to get my head around that, I suppose.
Yeah, and I know it's a sensitive subject, and I'm really, but I'm going through a divorce at the moment. From my wife. It's three months. It's not looking good. There's a lot of anger, and I'm thinking to myself, how did it get to this? I'm supposed to be the karma expert, but I'm thinking to myself now, hang on a minute, I'm actually feeling a lot freer. I'm feeling better. I don't have so many afflictions in my mind. Actually, this is not bad. This is cool, and I'm embracing it. So what looks like a negative event could be a liberating event, like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. It feels terrible. It feels traumatic. Can you imagine, did the caterpillar ever dream that it would fly? Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right, so Antoinette.
One last question, and I don't know the answer for this. My sister and I were talking about this yesterday. Why do we keep on coming back? Because it's hard. Yeah, at moments. At moments in time, it's flipping hard and not enjoyable. And other times it's really, really fun to be here. But why do we keep on signing up to come back? Is there a specific timeline for us to come back 20 times or 50? Why do we? But what is it that makes us come back?
We don't choose to come back. And there's this New Age philosophy from the Conversations with God. Never found it ever before. Where you go somewhere and you talk to your guide and you make a contract and you say, hey, next life I'll come back as a pedophile because that's the lesson I need to learn. That to me is a monster idea. That's a demonic idea, because then that gives you that. Then you say, oh well, I'm a murderer, I'm a stealer. That's my path, so I'm going to carry on murdering and stealing because I've got to learn what it feels like to be a murderer and a robber. What a rubbish idea! Where did that come from? No, we are forced by our karma to take on another life. We are forced. We don't have a choice. Your karma, your vibration resonates with the vibration in that particular realm. And that's where you get born because of the mental seeds that you plant, the action, the karma. And then you take on a body to suit your karma. So if you want to get out of here, you've got to follow the path of purification and accumulation of good karma. That's the only way. There's no choice. The choice is in this moment. What are you going to do today? Are you going to give the car god a smile and a blessing, or are you going to get angry with them? And that's how you get out of here.
Okay, thank you. It's weird. I got goosebumps as you said that. So there's obviously something there, and there's a mix-up, right, between. Yeah, it's almost as if people try and make us feel better if we talk about it, and they say, "Oh, don't worry, you chose to be here. You need to." Rubbish. Okay.
You know what? It's an ego trip. People say my son chose me, because I'm so wonderful and he's so wonderful, and my son or my daughter, we've got this bond. Yes, of course you have a bond. You've got karma together, People. There's this thing about having sex with people that you pick up on their energies, and those energies will affect you. So there's a lot of this idea. No, it's not really that case. It's that you got karma with that person. If you have multiple partners, you are creating karmic connections with those multiple partners to keep being connected with those partners in lifetime. So who are we connecting with? That's why it's very vital to not sort of make around, but to choose that one person that you think, this is my spiritual partner, and I'm going to work with this partner in this way because I want to continue working in this way with this person in many lives. I don't want to spread myself out amongst a whole bunch of people that I don't really know, because I'm connecting to them, and they call it soul tying, don't they? And in a way, it's right. In a way, because we are making karma together, right? We are soul tying right now. Okay, we are soul tying right now. This is what we're doing.
Thank you. Yeah. That's gold. Thank you.
Super. All right. I haven't got to the purification part. we didn't do it last week. Hey, did we? The 4 powers. All right. I'm going to have to push pause because people are arriving here for the talk. But gee, wow, this is my favorite, when you guys are asking such intelligent questions. This for me is like, we've got to dive into it. We've got time, we just keep going. And so that your understanding becomes really, really smart. And then when we move into the teachings of emptiness, you'll be ready to understand what that means, okay? And emptiness, I can't teach you emptiness. I've taken a vow not to teach emptiness until you're ready. And I'm telling you, you guys are there. You're almost ready. You're almost ready for that. So that's going to be very cool. That's going to blow your mind. It's really going to blow your mind. I can't wait for those classes. So we're going to close off now. I do apologize for jumping off early. Little dedication prayer. Connect with that Buddha in your heart once again, that angel in your heart, that radiant being that's part of you, that is you. And think of someone today that really needs help, really needs kindness and love and healing and security. And imagine this light shines out to your friend, surrounding them, blessing them, making them happy. And then see this incredible energy spreading out from you through your entire landscape, cities, towns, everyone, without any discrimination, until it covers the entire globe, sharing our goodness with everybody, because we are all connected. And this is why we can help save everyone as we save ourselves. And I'm going to sing the Tibetan prayer of dedication. Kewa di kewo kun, tsunami she zozo shin, tsunami she le junwe, dampa kunya topa shok. There we go. Thank you so much once again. Very, very cool. Great class. I look forward to seeing you all next Saturday. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. I'm going to enjoy the beautiful Stellenbosch today, so very exciting.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, Mark.
Pleasure. Cheers.
Thank you.